before Ruin comes out, which this is recorded the day before and very unscripted, there's one thing I want to bring up. Is the whole argument that kind of literally made the whole community debate over it for literal months now at this point. And that's the Mimic argument. Whether or not Burn Trap and the Mimic are either one and the same or separate. And even though I had been following the argument, I haven't been participating in it because, well, it just didn't seem to fit. Even though it's a nice idea for people to assume finally that it's not Afton again. But I actually found some good evidence and, well, I found the answer. The answer that the community's been fighting over for a while here on, well, at least for FNAF. And it might be a little controversial, but it's, when has a theory not been controversial in Five Nights at Freddy's? Look at Dream Theory after all, you know? Anyways, let me explain some stuff. First of all, I can just flat out confirm that the Mimic is not Burn Trap. And even though this might disappoint a lot of people, it's actually a good thing. Because, first of all, we can explore more of what this new character is without it being tied to a rabbit corpse and us constantly debating over, whether it's Afton or a Mimic. And secondly, it shows that it's not copying what Afton was doing in the first place. Well, next, I do want to point out some things. Burn Trap's eyes are a dark purple, very dark and with purple highlights. But with how the Mimic's described, it's more whitish with orange highlights, if you get what I'm saying. And well, we do see a character like that in Security Breach, oddly enough. And it might not be what you expect, but this really could explain a lot. And well, for that, we'll have to look to the storyteller. Okay, this might not be a good thing, but there's one thing you gotta realize here. What is the storyteller? First of all, in Tales from the Pizzaplex, the storyteller is this giant baobab tree that Fazbear Entertainment installed to randomly generate stories. And well, it's alright, but that's not the whole reason why I'm bringing it up, because in game, you don't see the baobab tree, so this immediately was seen as not canon. But if you kind of look closely at one particular detail, apart from it being a giant thing of wires spanning across the entire Pizzaplex, there's just one detail that I'm surprised that people didn't even connect yet. And it's the fact that this whole mess of wires was controlled by one animatronic head that, well, I guess you can say the coloration is mostly white. In the Pizzaplex books, it's Tiger Rock, a tiger animatronic, with the Mimic programming through it. But we do see a parallel in Security Breach. Even though it's not a tiger head, we do see a giant mass of wires controlled by one central head. And you'd be surprised, but it's the Blob. I know people are going to be yelling at me for this, but if you really think about it, the evidence just adds up. Because not only does it have the same wide eyes with orange highlights that the Mimic does, but it's also, well, kind of been seen in Tales from the Pizzaplex. A mass of wires controlled by an animatronic head and using the Mimic programming. And what do we see in Security Breach? Well, a giant mass of wires controlled by an animatronic head. The only thing we're not for sure of is the Mimic programming. And even then, the evidence just sort of fits. with how closely those two parallel, it's kind of easy to assume that the blob could be the mimic. And do I like the idea? Well, even though it's not the cleanest idea, let alone the most satisfying, it really does fit. And Burn Trap could be Afton, sure, but the only other thing that I don't want to accept here, which I'm just gonna say this real quick, is Glitch Trap being, well, Afton again. Because, sure, I love the design and I love how it acts. It just doesn't fit right narratively. And, well, I feel like it'd be best to kind of say that that Glitch Trap is the mimic, but I'd have to expand on it at a different point because now I'm just going on rambling. So just think on this, and I hope y'all have a good time theorizing with this new evidence. So y'all have a good one, and I'll see y'all tomorrow for Ruin.